It was a rainy afternoon when Emma, a young nurse just off her 12-hour shift, noticed an elderly woman collapse on the sidewalk outside a coffee shop. Most people walked past, holding umbrellas, pretending not to see, but Emma didn't think twice. She dropped her purse, ran to the woman, and whispered, "Ma'am, can you hear me?" She had no idea that simple act of kindness would soon change her life forever, because that frail old woman lying unconscious on the wet pavement was not just anyone, she was the mother of a billionaire CEO, and what came next would restore your faith in humanity. Hey everyone, before we dive deeper into this emotional story, make sure to hit that button, and in the comments below that we bring you real, heartfelt stories that remind us of the power of kindness and compassion. Now, let's get into today's story. Emma was 26 years old, a nurse at St. Mary's Hospital in a small city in Illinois. She didn't have much, a tiny one-bedroom apartment, an old car that rattled when it started, and student loans that made her paycheck disappear faster than she could count it. But despite all that, Emma had something most people seem to lose along the way: a good heart. That day, she was exhausted. She'd spent her entire shift caring for patients, skipping lunch to help cover for a coworker who called in sick. As she walked home in the rain, she dreamed of a hot shower and maybe a cheap microwave dinner before collapsing into bed, but fate had other plans. As she passed the coffee shop on 3rd Street, she saw an older woman, maybe in her 70s, standing unsteadily near the curb. Her gray hair was perfectly styled, her coat elegant but soaked through. Suddenly, the woman's eyes rolled back, and she collapsed to the ground. Without thinking, Emma ran to her. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" she called. Kneeling in the puddle beside her, the woman was pale, barely breathing. Emma quickly checked her pulse. Faint, but there. "Somebody call 911. Emma shouted to the crowd that had gathered but kept their distance. Nobody moved. Everyone just stared. So Emma did what nurses do best: she acted. She tilted the woman's head back to open her airway, covered her with her own jacket to keep her warm, and began gentle chest compressions. Her heart pounded as rainwater mixed with tears on her face. After what felt like forever, the old woman coughed weakly. Emma let out a shaky breath of relief. "It's okay, ma'am. You're going to be okay," she whispered. When the ambulance finally arrived, Emma rode along, refusing to leave her side. At the hospital, she stayed until she was sure the woman was stable. The doctor said she had fainted from exhaustion and dehydration, nothing life-threatening. Thankfully, when Emma tried to leave, the woman's hand reached out and grabbed hers. "Thank you," she said in a weak voice. "You saved my life, dear." Emma smiled softly. "I'm just glad you're okay, ma'am. Please rest." The woman tried to ask for her name, but Emma just smiled again. "Doesn't matter," she said gently. "Just take care of yourself." And with that, she quietly left before anyone could stop her. Back at the hospital, life went on as usual. Emma worked double shifts, helped patients who didn't always say thank you, and came home too tired to cook. Her worn-out shoes squeaked against the hospital floor as she moved from room to room, always with a gentle smile. Then one afternoon, the head nurse called her into the office. "Emma, there's someone here to see you," she said with a curious expression. Emma frowned. "Me? Who?" The nurse shrugged. "You'll see." When Emma stepped into the waiting area, she froze. Standing there was a tall man in an expensive black suit, clearly someone who didn't belong in a small-town hospital. His watch alone probably cost more than Emma made in a year. Next to him was the same elderly woman Emma had rescued. "Emma, dear," the woman said joyfully. "There you are." Emma blinked in surprise. "Oh my goodness, ma'am, you're looking so much better." The man stepped forward, his expression serious but kind. "Miss Emma, is it? My name is Charles Whitmore. I'm the CEO of Whitmore Industries." Emma's eyes widened. Everyone in town had heard of Whitmore Industries. They owned factories, tech startups, even hospitals. Charles Whitmore was one of the richest men in the Midwest. He continued, "You saved my mother's life last week. She told me everything." Emma shook her head quickly. "Oh, I just did what anyone would do." The old woman smiled knowingly. "Not anyone, dear. Everyone else walked past me that day. You didn't." Emma blushed, unsure what to say. Charles handed her a small envelope. "Please, accept this as a token of our gratitude." She opened it and gasped. It was a check for $4,000. No, I can't take this," she stammered, trying to hand it back. "I didn't do it for money." Charles smiled faintly. "That's exactly why you deserve it." A few weeks passed. Emma reluctantly accepted part of the money to pay off some student loans, but she donated the rest to a local children's hospital. She never wanted fame or reward, she just wanted to help. Then, one morning, she received a call from an unfamiliar number. "Hello, is this Emma Davis?" a man's voice asked. "Yes, speaking. This is Charles Whitmore. I was wondering if you could come to our headquarters this afternoon. My mother would like to see you, and I have a proposal." Curious and a bit nervous, Emma agreed. When she arrived, she couldn't believe her eyes. The Whitmore Industries building was enormous, all glass and steel, towering into the sky. She felt completely out of place in her modest clothes. Inside, Charles and his mother greeted her warmly. "Emma," Charles began, "after hearing what you did and learning about your dedication as a nurse, we want to offer you something." He slid a folder across the table. It was an offer letter, a full scholarship to complete her nursing master's degree, and a position in the company's healthcare foundation, helping design programs for low-income families. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Charles's mother said with a smile. "The world needs more people like you in it." Months passed, and Emma's life began to change in ways she never imagined. She started working with the Whitmore Foundation, helping fund clinics in rural areas and train young nurses who couldn't afford college. Every day, she remembered where she came from and how one small act of kindness had brought her here. Charles's mother, now a dear friend, often reminded her, "You gave me more than my life back, Emma. You reminded me that goodness still exists." And sometimes, when Emma spoke at nursing schools or charity events, she would tell her story, not to boast, but to remind people that kindness never goes unnoticed. She'd say, "You may think nobody sees what you do. You may think your small act doesn't matter. But trust me, someone out there sees it, feels it, and one day, it might come back to you in ways you never expect." It's easy to think kindness doesn't make a difference anymore. People are busy, distracted, rushing from one thing to the next, but Emma's story reminds us that the smallest act of compassion, stopping to help, offering a hand, showing care, can ripple through the world in ways we can't imagine. Kindness doesn't always come back as money or reward. Sometimes, it comes back as peace, friendship, or the knowledge that you made someone's day just a little better. Emma didn't save that old woman for recognition. She did it because it was the right thing to do, and that's what true kindness is, doing good, even when no one is watching.